All right, let's dive right into one of the most bizarre and frankly terrifying mysteries out there, spontaneous human combustion. You've probably heard of it. This idea that a person could just burst into flames from the inside out, leaving almost nothing behind but a pile of ash. I know, it sounds completely impossible, right? Like something straight out of folklore. But the evidence from these scenes, it presents a paradox that has stumped investigators for centuries.
And that's the absolute heart of the mystery. How can a human body be incinerated so intensely that it rivals a crematorium, yet the newspaper on the table right next to it is perfectly fine? The chair the person was sitting in is maybe a little scorched, but that's it. How does that even work? It's a complete contradiction. And it's the puzzle we're going to solve right now. To really get how strange this is, let's look at one of the most famous early cases. Back in 1746, Countess Cornelia Bandai was found in her room, or what was left of her. She was almost completely gone, just a pile of fine ash. But here's the kicker. Her silk stockings and her slippers were sitting right there, completely untouched. That one single, visceral detail became the hallmark of this whole phenomenon. It's a forensic puzzle that just seems to defy all logic. So to understand the science, we actually have to take a step back and look at the myth. You see, for hundreds of years, long before we had forensic science, people had to explain these things somehow, and they used the tools they had: morality, religion, and a whole lot of fear.
And this legend really grew over time. I mean, the earliest cases from way back were linked to things like drinking really strong wine. Then you get cases like the Countess, and these really specific, bizarre details start becoming part of the story. By the 1800s, it was widely seen as some kind of divine punishment, a penalty for living a life of excess, especially alcoholism. The idea got so popular that Charles Dickens even used it to kill off a character in his novel Bleak House, which pretty much cemented it in the public imagination forever.
But what if the answer wasn't supernatural at all? What if it's something grounded in some pretty simple, if kind of overlooked, scientific principles? It's time to shift gears and get into the modern forensic explanation, which honestly is way more fascinating than any myth. It's called the human candle effect.
The whole idea is built on something called the Wick Effect, and it's pretty wild. The theory is that under just the right and very tragic circumstances, the human body can act like an inside-out candle. The body's own fat becomes the wax, the fuel, and the victim's clothing, or maybe a blanket, becomes the wick. And when you look at it this way, the analogy is just perfect. A candle uses wax for fuel and a cotton wick to burn. Well, in the Wick Effect, the body's fat. Its adipose tissue is the fuel, and the clothing becomes the wick. But here's the most important part. In both cases, the fire isn't spontaneous. It absolutely needs an external ignition source, something like a dropped cigarette, a spark from a fireplace, or a nearby heater. So let's break down exactly how this happens. It's basically a three-step process. First, you have ignition. An external flame catches the clothing on fire. Second, and this is the crucial step, the fire breaches the skin and starts to render, or melt, the fat underneath. And third, the charred clothing soaks up that liquid fat, just like a wick, and that's what sustains a very slow, very steady, but incredibly persistent flame. Okay, so now we have our theory, the inside-out candle. Let's see how this model completely solves those paradoxes that made these cases seem so impossible in the first place. Let's start with that unburnt room. This number right here, 60 kilowatts, this is the key to the whole thing. It's the heat release rate that scientists measured when they actually recreated the Wick effect using an animal carcass. Now, 60 kilowatts might not sound like much on its own, but when you put it in context, well, it explains everything. A 60 kilowatt fire is about the same intensity as a small space heater. It burns low and slow. Compare that to a typical house fire, which can blast out over 2,000 kilowatts. That's a fire that burns high and fast and causes what's called a flashover, where the entire room just erupts in flames. The Wick effect fire, it simply doesn't produce enough heat to set things on fire even a few feet away. That's why the newspaper is fine. So, that explains the room. But what about the body itself? What about one of the most famous, most baffling details from these scenes? The fact that sometimes feet or hands are found perfectly preserved. The answer, it turns out, is actually incredibly simple. It's all about fuel distribution. The fire is feeding on the body's fat, right? And where do we have the most fat? In our torso. The hands and feet have very little. So once the fire burns through all the available fuel in the torso and reaches the extremities, it just starves and goes out, leaving them behind. All right, but here's the biggest hurdle for investigators, the one that really seemed to break the laws of physics: the bones. I mean, to turn bone into ash in a crematorium, you need insane temperatures.
So how can a low-intensity fire possibly do the same thing?
It turns out the crucial factor isn't just temperature, it's time. A crematorium uses incredibly high heat for a short period, about 90 minutes. The Wick effect applies much, much lower heat, but for a very, very long time. We're talking 6, 12, maybe even more hours. And that prolonged, steady cooking is more than enough to achieve the same result, breaking the bone down into that fine, calcined ash. And you know what? The science explains all the other weird clues too. That oily, greasy film they often find on the walls and windows, that's just vaporized body fat condensing on the cooler surfaces. And the infamous shrunken skull from that one famous case? It's not actually shrunken. It's an illusion caused by the intense heat making the bone fragment and basically collapse inward. Every single strange detail has a scientific answer. So we've busted the myth and we've walked through the science. But the final piece of this puzzle, it isn't about physics or chemistry. It's about people. Because when you look at the victims of these kinds of fires, a really consistent and tragic pattern starts to emerge.
There are 3 factors that are almost always present. First, immobility. The victim is often elderly or has a condition that keeps them from moving easily, so they can't escape or put out a small fire. Second, incapacitation. They might have been drinking or taken sleeping pills, so they don't wake up or even feel the initial burn. And third, and this one might be the most important, social isolation. They are almost always alone. If someone else had been there, the fire would have been noticed and put out right away.
And that really brings us to the final takeaway. What we once saw as a supernatural curse is now understood to be a tragic and often preventable type of fire fatality. It's something that happens to the most vulnerable people among us. So maybe the real mystery we have left to solve isn't how a human body can burn like a candle, but how we as a society can make sure we're there to blow out the flame before it ever really starts.